Dr. Emily Carter settled into her seat in the business class cabin of Flight VN 512, her hand lightly resting on the gentle curve of her belly. The hum of the Pratt and Whitney engines and the soft blue glow of the overhead reading lights provided a sense of calm, even as her mind buzzed with the events of the past week. She had been in Hanoi on a humanitarian mission, traveling to remote clinics along the northern border to deliver prenatal care to women with limited resources. The gratitude in their eyes had been profound, and Emily felt honored to serve. Yet now, as she prepared for the long journey to Sydney to reunite with her husband and daughter, a twinge of exhaustion tugged at her. Across the aisle, a flight attendant named Jessica moved with the precision of someone who took pride in her job. Jessica's uniform was impeccable, a crisp navy blazer, a silk scarf tied neatly at her throat, and polished black heels. Her platinum blonde hair was pulled back into a tight chignon. She was known among colleagues for her strict adherence to rules and her exacting standards for passenger etiquette. Emily glanced around at the cabin, a quiet tableau of passengers absorbed in their in-flight entertainment, reading or dozing off. The muted teal upholstery and brushed maternal accents created a modern, soothing environment. A soft aroma of lavender-infused air freshener wafted from the vents. Flight VN 512 was a new addition to the airline's long-haul fleet, boasting extra legroom and advanced noise cancellation in each seat, an ideal setting for a woman in her 8th month of pregnancy. Just as Emily settled her arm on the wide, leather armrest, Jessica approached, her posture rigid. "Excuse me, ma'am," she said, her tone clipped. "This is seat 3B, not 2A. You appear to be in the wrong seat." Her eyes flicked to the boarding pass Emily held. Emily's heart skipped. She flipped the boarding pass around. "Oh, I'm sorry," she said softly, adjusting her cardigan over her bum. "I thought this was 2A. Let me move right away." As Emily rose, Jessica's gaze hardened. "Please do. We have to maintain order." Emily gave a small, apologetic nod and stepped into the aisle. She felt a prickle of embarrassment as the other passengers glanced over. A young businessman smirked slightly. A mother with a sleeping infant shifted her gaze away. But just as Emily reached for her bag, a sudden alarm rang out from the rear of the cabin. The medical call button. A panicked voice crackled over the intercom. "Emergency in row 14! I need a medical professional immediately." Jessica's stern expression faltered. She blinked, her mouth opening as she processed the announcement. A hush fell over the cabin as passengers sat up, sensing the gravity of the situation. Emily paused mid-step, her instincts kicking in. She straightened, her fatigue forgotten. "That's me," she said, her voice steady. She turned to Jessica, who seemed uncertain. "Excuse me, I'm a physician, an obstetrician. I can help?" For a moment, Jessica's rigid composure melted into relief and regret. She motioned Emily forward. "Dr. Carter, right this way?" "Thank you." Emily moved swiftly down the aisle, her calm confidence radiating reassurance. Fellow passengers made way, some offering nods of gratitude. As she passed, Emily felt the familiar rush of purpose. This was why she had devoted her life to medicine, why she had volunteered countless hours in underserved communities. In that moment, the cabin transformed from a place of rules and seats to a sanctuary of care. And as Dr. Emily Carter knelt beside the distressed passenger, a young woman in labor, she realized that sometimes the most profound connections happen far above the ground, when empathy overcame protocol and hearts opened in solidarity. As Dr. Emily Carter hurried down the narrow aisle of Flight VN 512, her mind switched seamlessly into emergency mode. The distressed passenger, Mrs. Olivia Bennett, lay across 2 seats in row 14, her face contorted in pain as she clutched her midsection. Jessica, the flight attendant who had earlier reprimanded Emily, hovered anxiously nearby, holding a medical kit and casting worried glances at the cabin door, which was closed and locked for the duration of the flight. The overhead lights glowed softly, casting warm halos on the faces of curious and concerned travelers. Emily knelt beside Olivia, gently placing her stethoscope on the woman's abdomen. She felt the rapid flutter of the baby's heartbeat. "Mrs. Bennett, I'm Dr. Carter." she said in a calm, reassuring tone. You're doing great. I'm going to check a few things now. How far apart are your contractions? Olivia gasped through another wave of pain. They're coming every 3 minutes, and they're strong. Jessica handed Emily a portable blood pressure cuff and a small flashlight. Emily measured Olivia's blood pressure and checked her pupils, her voice steady as she gave instructions to Jessica. I need towels, gloves, and the oxygen mask. And please clear this aisle. Everyone needs to give us room. Passengers quickly complied, some pushing their chairs back, others handing over spare blankets and water bottles. The cabin transformed into a makeshift emergency room, with Emily directing operations like a seasoned commander. A businessman offered his jacket to keep Olivia warm. A nurse from row 12 introduced herself and volunteered to assist, prompting Emily to nod gratefully. Thank you. Can you hold her hand and encourage her to breathe through each contraction? Moments later, the intercom crackled. Captain to cabin crew, what's happening in row 14? Jessica picked up the handset. Captain, we have a medical emergency. Passenger in active labor. Dr. Carter is assisting, requesting medical guidance and possible emergency landing options. Emily listened briefly to the captain's response. He would evaluate the situation and consider diversion if necessary. She returned to Olivia's side. Mrs. Bennett, I'm going to perform a quick check to see how far along you are. One moment. With professional efficiency, Emily donned gloves and conducted a gentle examination, confirming that delivery was imminent but manageable in flight. Your cervix is fully dilated, baby is coming soon, she announced with controlled optimism. Olivia's partner seated nearby gripped Emily's hand. Will she and the baby be okay? He asked, voice trembling. Emily offered a firm smile. Yes, I've delivered babies under tougher conditions. I need you to stay calm and follow my instructions. She guided Olivia through breathing exercises, counting down each contraction. The cabin was silent except for Olivia's labored breathing and the soft hum of the engines. Jessica monitored the oxygen tank, ready to assist. Emily encouraged Olivia to push during the next contraction, her tone both authoritative and compassionate. Then in a burst of effort and tears, the baby's head emerged. A collective gasp rippled through the cabin. Emily gently supported the baby's head and guided the body out, quickly clearing the airways with a small suction device from the medical kit. A robust cry filled the aisle. Relief washed over Emily's face as she placed the newborn on Olivia's chest. Jessica handed Emily a clean towel, and Emily wrapped the baby snugly. Applause erupted from surrounding rows. The tension melted into joy. Olivia wept with gratitude. Emily pressed a hand to her own heart, feeling both exhaustion and exhilaration. Jessica, eyes glistening, stepped forward and gently squeezed Emily's shoulder. Thank you, Dr. Carter. I'm so sorry for earlier. Emily smiled warmly. You did great. We saved 2 lives today. As the cabin settled, Emily sat beside Olivia, monitoring mother and child, while Jessica coordinated with the cockpit to ensure medical staff awaited them upon landing. The ordeal had lasted only 20 minutes, but it left an indelible mark on everyone aboard, a testament to human resilience, professional dedication, and the unexpected bonds forged at 35,000 feet. The gentle applause that followed the delivery had barely died down when the cabin lights dimmed slightly, signaling the crew's return to routine. Dr. Emily Carter remained seated, cradling the swaddled newborn on her lap, while Mrs. Olivia Bennett, now calm and tearful with relief, reached across the armrest to squeeze Emily's hand. The air still vibrated with the warmth of shared humanity, and even Jessica, once stern and unyielding, stood nearby, offering Emily a bottle of water and a shy smile. Here you go, Dr. Carter, Jessica murmured, her voice softer than before. You must be thirsty. Emily accepted the bottle with gratitude. Thank you, Jessica. You've been wonderful. Jessica hesitated, then said quietly, I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you earlier. I was following protocol, but I forgot there's a person behind every passenger. Her eyes glistened with genuine regret. Emily placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We all learn, Emily replied gently. Today we learned something far more important. Moments later, the captain's voice resonated over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Emily Carter for her extraordinary assistance during today's medical emergency. Your bravery and skill saved 2 lives up here at 35,000 feet. We are honored to have you on board. A round of applause erupted once more, louder and more heartfelt than before. Emily felt a blush of modest pride but kept her composure. She stood to address the cabin. Thank you all. I'm just a doctor doing my job. Mrs. Bennett and her baby are in good hands. Olivia waved weakly, her eyes bright with gratitude. In the quiet that followed, a fellow passenger from row 12, a retired teacher named Mr. Thompson, approached Emily with a small envelope. I hope you'll accept this, he said, his voice wavering. It's not much, just a token of our appreciation. Emily opened it to find a handwritten note and a gift card to a spa near Sydney. Tears welled in her eyes. This is incredibly thoughtful, she said. Thank you. The cabin buzzed with a sense of unity, as if the walls of the airplane had become a vessel for compassion and respect. Emily returned to her seat, the baby peacefully sleeping against her chest. She glanced at her own belly, feeling the life growing inside her. A gentle kick reminded her of her own child, waiting for her arrival. A smile touched her lips as Flight VN 512 cruised toward its destination. Dr. Emily Carter closed her eyes for a brief moment, reflecting on the day's events. She thought of the remote villages in northern Vietnam, the lives she had touched there, and the miraculous new life she held now. In the serene cocoon of the cabin, she understood that medicine transcended borders and protocols. It was at its core a testament to empathy, courage, and the unbreakable bonds that connect us all. As the hum of the engine settled into a gentle drone once more, the cabin returned to its steady rhythm. Tray tables clicked into place, soft murmurs resumed, and the flight attendants moved down the aisles offering refreshments. Yet for Dr. Emily Carter and Jessica, the atmosphere had shifted in a way that could not be undone. Where there had been formality and unspoken distance, now there existed a quiet bond forged in the heat of crisis. Emily tucked the sleeping infant into the arms of Mrs. Bennett's partner, Mr. Bennett, who sat forward in his seat, eyes shining with pride. Jessica hovered nearby, holding a small plastic cup of orange juice. She offered it to Emily with a tentative smile. Here, something to help you recover. Emily accepted it gratefully, her hand brushing Jessica's. The warmth of that touch conveyed more than words ever could. Thank you, Emily said, lifting the cup. I'm impressed by how everyone stepped up. Your crew was fantastic. She gestured toward a young flight attendant who was carefully checking on Olivia, making sure she had a blanket and water. Jessica nodded. We train for emergencies, but nothing prepares you for an actual delivery at altitude. I'm proud of our team and grateful you were here. A hush fell over the cabin as Emily rose to address the passengers. If I may say a few words, she began, her voice calm but carrying throughout the cabin. I want to thank all of you for your kindness, those who made space, offered jackets, and volunteered help. Today reminded me that compassion is what truly lifts us above any protocol. The passengers offered warm applause, some wiping tears from their eyes. Mr. Thompson, the retired teacher, gave a thumbs up. A young mother in row 10 mouthed thank you as Jessica passed by, her eyes glistening. After the applause faded, Jessica guided Emily to the galley where they found a moment of privacy. The hum of conversation seeped through the partition. Jessica exhaled deeply. I owe you an apology, more than words can express. Earlier I let regulations blind me to the person in front of me. You reminded me why service is about people, not just seats. Emily placed a hand over her heart. We all have moments we wish we could rewrite, but what matters is what we choose after. You chose to help. That defines you. Jessica's shoulders relaxed, and for the first time she laughed. A genuine, unguarded sound. Thank you, Dr. Carter. I hope one day I can repay the favor. Emily smiled. No need. Just keep caring. She patted her belly. and keep me company on the walk to Sydney, figuratively speaking. As they returned to the cabin, Jessica offered to bring Emily a snack and a pillow. Emily accepted, and Jessica winked. Only if you promise not to steal my seat again. They shared a laugh that echoed through the aisle. The rest of the flight passed with a sense of camaraderie. Passengers chatted quietly about the miracle they had witnessed. Flight attendants paused to offer Emily congratulations. And even the captain descended briefly from the cockpit to express his gratitude in person. High above the clouds, in a vessel hurtling toward distant horizons, unlikely friendships had formed. In that confined space, rules had given way to empathy, and strangers had become allies. Dr. Emily Carter and Jessica stood as living proof that when people choose understanding over judgment, even the sky is no limit to what can be achieved. The automatic doors of the International Arrivals Hall slid open with a soft whoosh, revealing the bright sunlight and the gentle hum of airport activity. Dr. Emily Carter stepped through, cradling her newborn daughter, Grace, wrapped snugly in a pastel pink blanket. Her gray blazer hung open over a comfortable white blouse, and the curve of her baby bump was still visible beneath. By her side walked Jessica, the flight attendant whose initial sternness had transformed into genuine friendship. Together they advanced into a scene that felt more like a hero's welcome than a routine airport arrival. A small contingent of airline executives and airport medical personnel stood ready, their expressions a mixture of pride and relief. The airline's chief operating officer, Mr. Nguyen, approached Emily with outstretched hands. Dr. Carter, on behalf of Skybridge Airlines, I cannot thank you enough, he said, voice rich with emotion. You and your remarkable courage have upheld the highest values of our company. We are honored to present you with this small token of our appreciation. He handed Emily a delicate bouquet of white lilies, symbolic of purity and new beginnings, and a commemorative plaque engraved with her name and the flight number. Emily accepted both with humility. Thank you, Mr. Nguyen, she replied, her voice soft but steady. I'm grateful for the support of your crew and the passengers who helped today. It truly was a collective effort. She glanced toward the medical team, who stood behind a gleaming stretcher, ready to escort Grace and her mother to a waiting ambulance for further evaluation. Jessica slipped a protective arm around Emily's waist. Come on, she said. Let's get you two to the hospital so you can rest. Emily nodded, tears glinting in her eyes. As they moved toward the ambulance bay, the small crowd clapped and cheered, some wiping tears, others capturing the moment on their phones. Emily's heart swelled with gratitude for the strangers-turned allies who had made this extraordinary day possible. Outside, the midday sun shone brightly, casting long shadows across the tarmac. A sleek black ambulance idled by the terminal entrance, its doors swinging open as the medical team approached. One of the paramedics, a kindly woman named Sarah, knelt beside Emily. Dr. Carter will take excellent care of both of you, she said, offering a reassuring smile. Emily handed Grace to Sarah, who cradled the newborn gently and placed her on a soft stretcher mattress. Emily paused, taking a moment to breathe in the warm air and appreciate the significance of this journey. From remote villages in Vietnam to the skies above, from a sudden medical crisis to this peaceful reunion, every step had been an affirmation of life's resilience. She turned to Jessica, who had taken off her hat and was holding it over her heart. Thank you for everything, Emily whispered. Jessica reached out, brushing a stray curl from Emily's forehead. No, thank you for reminding me what truly matters, she said. Now go be with your family. I'll handle the rest. Emily smiled through her tears and climbed into the ambulance. As the doors closed, she looked back once more at the crowd. Passengers, crew, and executives united in applause. The ambulance pulled away, its sirens silent, leaving behind a scene of shared triumph. Inside, Emily settled onto the stretcher, her thoughts already shifting to the hospital where her husband and older daughter awaited. Grace lay peacefully at her side, eyes fluttering as if greeting the new world around her. Emily reached out to touch her cheek, marveling at the miracle she had helped bring into the world. The ambulance doors closed with a gentle thud, and the vehicle glided smoothly toward the hospital. As the city skyline grew nearer, Emily closed her eyes for a moment, reflecting on the day's events. She had served as a healer, a beacon of hope, and now as a mother. The boundaries between roles had blurred, leaving only the enduring truth that compassion and courage can transform any journey, no matter how high the altitude or how remote the destination, into a path of purpose and profound connection. The scent of antiseptic mingled with the faint aroma of fresh flowers as Dr. Emily Carter awoke in her private hospital room. Morning sunlight filtered through the large window, casting a golden glow across the pale blue walls and crisp white linens. At her side lay newborn Grace, swaddled in a soft blanket, her tiny chest rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. Emily reached out to brush a lock of hair from Grace's forehead, marveling at the fragile perfection in her arms. Moments later, the door swung open to reveal Michael, Emily's husband, carrying a tray with 2 steaming mugs of tea and a small plate of toast. His face lit up when he saw Emily awake. "Morning, love," he whispered, setting the tray on the bedside table. "How are you feeling?" Emily offered him a tired but radiant smile. "Like I've just lived a lifetime in a single day," she replied, her voice soft but steady. "And I wouldn't trade it for anything." Michael sat beside her, gently lifting Grace into his arms for a moment so Emily could rest. Their older daughter, Lily, peeked around the door, her eyes wide with excitement. "Can I hold the baby?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Emily laughed softly and patted the bed. "Of course, sweetheart." Lily climbed up carefully, sitting on the edge and cradling her new sister with surprising gentleness. Grace stirred, opening her eyes briefly before drifting back to sleep. Jessica entered next, carrying a small bouquet of daisies and a stack of congratulatory cards from the airline crew and passengers. She placed the flowers on the windowsill and handed Emily a thick envelope. "They wanted you to have this," Jessica said, her eyes bright. "Everyone's been asking how you're doing." Emily opened the envelope to find dozens of handwritten notes, thank yous, well wishes, and even a few poems. One passenger had drawn a simple sketch of an airplane with a heart trailing behind it. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "They're beautiful," she murmured, looking up at Jessica. "Thank you for delivering these." Jessica sat on a chair beside the bed. "You delivered a miracle," she replied. "You deserve every bit of praise." She glanced at Michael and Lily, who were busy cooing at Grace. "How's the family adjusting?" Michael chuckled. "I think we're all still in shock, but it's the best kind of shock." He reached for Emily's hand. "You were incredible up there. And down here, you're still our hero." Emily's gaze softened as she watched her family. The past few days had tested her in ways she never imagined. Emergency childbirth at altitude, navigating corporate formalities, and then returning home to her own child. Yet each challenge had reinforced her faith in humanity's capacity for compassion and courage. The door opened again, and a pediatric nurse stepped in to check Grace's vitals. She was followed by an airline representative, carrying a small engraved plaque commemorating Emily's actions on Flight VN 512. "Dr. Carter," the representative said, "we would be honored if you accepted this on behalf of everyone who supported you that day." Emily accepted the plaque, her heart full. As the morning passed, Emily's thoughts turned to the future. She would soon return to her medical practice and continue her work in underserved communities. But now she would also navigate the joys and responsibilities of a growing family. With Michael's unwavering support and Jessica's friendship, she felt ready for whatever lay ahead. Later, as Jessica stepped out to make arrangements for the family's discharge, Emily held Grace close and whispered, "Welcome to the world, my little miracle." Lily reached over to press a soft kiss on her sister's cheek, and Michael leaned in to rest his forehead against Emily's temple. In that quiet hospital room, surrounded by love, Dr. Emily Carter embraced the beautiful uncertainty of tomorrow, confident that together they could face any challenge, one heartbeat at a time. Weeks had passed since Flight VN 512's miraculous delivery, and the Carter household settled into a new rhythm. Dr. Emily Carter balanced sleepless nights with baby Grace and the demands of her humanitarian practice, while her husband Michael managed the home front with steadfast devotion. Lily, their bright-eyed 7-year-old, took her role as big sister seriously, eager to help in any way she could. Yet despite the comfort of family life, Emily felt the pull of her calling to serve communities in need, where her skills could save lives. One crisp morning, Emily prepared for a journey back to the remote clinics in the Mekong Delta region, this time accompanied by Jessica, who had volunteered to assist with logistics and patient coordination. Grace, now 6 weeks old, nestled in a navy blue sling against Emily's chest, eyes fluttering as if sensing the excitement around her. Lily clung to her mother's hand, eyes wide with curiosity. "Will you be okay without me?" Emily asked Michael, her voice tinged with concern as he adjusted Grace's blanket. Michael smiled, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll manage. You're the one making a difference out there. And look at this," he said, lifting Lily into his arms. "She's proud to be your helper." Lily waved enthusiastically. "I can't wait to see the boats and the rice paddies." With tearful hugs, Emily and Jessica boarded the small propeller plane that would ferry them to the Delta. Emily inhaled the humid air and scanned the patchwork of waterways below. The landscape reminded her of why she endured long flights and exhausting days, because every life mattered, no matter how remote. At the makeshift clinic, a converted schoolhouse with woven bamboo walls and a tin roof, Emily set up her stethoscope, ready to conduct prenatal checkups. Local families lined up patiently, children clutching handfuls of wildflowers as gifts. Jessica coordinated patient files and translated between Vietnamese and English, her earlier rigid demeanor now softened by genuine empathy. Emily began her rounds, moving from patient to patient with practiced efficiency and warmth. She examined expectant mothers, listened to fetal heartbeats, and offered advice on nutrition and hygiene. Grace, swaddled snugly, slept contentedly against Emily's chest, undisturbed by the soft chatter of the waiting area. Between consultations, Emily stepped outside into the golden afternoon light. Lily, having joined them for a day of service, handed out small blankets to mothers who needed them. Jessica paused to watch Lily's gentle interactions, her heart swelling with pride. The bond between mother, daughter, and friend felt like the embodiment of hope itself. A young mother, An Mai, approached with a worried expression. Her hands trembled as she explained concerns about her last ultrasound. Emily knelt beside her, placing a comforting hand on her arm. With Grace asleep in her sling, Emily spoke calmly. "Let's do a quick check." She listened to the baby's heartbeat and measured An Mai's blood pressure, then offered a reassuring smile. "Everything looks good. Your baby is healthy, and you're doing great." An Mai's eyes welled with tears of relief. She pressed Emily's hand. "Thank you, Dr. Carter. You've given me peace." Jessica guided the next patient forward, and Emily returned to her work with renewed purpose. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the clinic's bamboo walls glowed in warm hues. Emily closed her kit and stretched, feeling the gentle tug of motherhood and medicine woven into every fiber of her being. That evening, as the team gathered by the riverbank to watch the sunset, Emily reflected on the day. Grace stirred in her arms, blinking at the golden sky. Lily ran ahead, chasing fireflies along the water's edge. Jessica stood beside Emily, a cool breeze lifting her hair. Emily took a deep breath. "I couldn't ask for a better team," she said softly. "Family, friends, and a chance to serve. This is what makes life meaningful." Jessica smiled, her eyes reflecting the dying light. "And I'm honored to be part of it. In the heart of the Delta, where the world felt both vast and intimate, Dr. Emily Carter found the harmony she sought. A life where healing and home converged, each heartbeat a testament to compassion and the enduring power of human connection. After weeks in the Mekong Delta, Dr. Emily Carter and Jessica returned home to a whirlwind of invitations and accolades. Among them was an invitation to speak at the prestigious Global Health and Aviation Symposium in Geneva, a gathering of top health officials, airline executives, and policymakers from around the world. The symposium's theme, Bridging Skies and Health, resonated deeply with Emily's unique experience, delivering a baby mid-flight and then serving remote communities. On the morning of the conference, Emily, carrying baby Grace in a sleek, black sling, stepped onto the stage of the grand auditorium. The room fell silent as she approached the podium, flanked by a large screen displaying the symposium logo, a caduceus entwined with airplane wings. Behind her, Jessica stood ready, uniform pristine, and Lily distributed informational brochures to delegates as they took their seats. Emily began, her voice clear and steady. Good morning. I'm honored to be here representing not just my own journey, but the countless healthcare professionals who work tirelessly at every altitude and latitude to save lives. She paused, glancing down at Grace, who blinked sleepily. A murmur of admiration swept through the audience. She continued, recounting the events of Flight VN 512, the mistaken seat assignment, the unexpected medical emergency, and the collaboration between crew and passengers that culminated in a successful delivery. With each detail, Emily emphasized the importance of training, communication, and empathy. In that moment, she said, protocols were important, but humanity was paramount. We had to adapt quickly, trust one another, and remember why we serve. The audience leaned forward, captivated. Next, Emily shared stories from the Mekong Delta clinic, of mothers walking miles to receive prenatal care, of community health workers learning new skills, and of the transformative power of partnership. Whether in a high-tech cabin or a bamboo clinic, she explained, the principles are the same: respect, collaboration, and a commitment to dignity. As Emily spoke, slides flickered on the screen behind her. Images of the cabin during the emergency, the newborns swaddled in blankets, the smiling faces in the village clinic. Delegates scribbled notes, nodded in agreement, and exchanged thoughtful glances. Emily concluded her presentation with a call to action. Let us integrate healthcare training into every aspect of aviation and extend logistical support to underserved regions. Together we can ensure that no matter where a life begins or where a patient is, we are ready to respond with compassion and competence. A moment of silence followed, then the room erupted in applause. Delegates rose to their feet, cheering and clapping. Emily's eyes glistened with gratitude as she stepped down from the podium. Jessica embraced her, and Lily gave her mother a bouquet of orchids picked from the Geneva Botanical Garden, a symbol of resilience and beauty. In the days that followed, Emily and Jessica met with airline CEOs and health ministers, drafting joint initiatives, in-flight medical kits with expanded emergency supplies, mobile telemedicine units for rural clinics, and training modules for crew and community health workers. Their vision was ambitious, but the momentum was undeniable. One evening, as the sun set over Lake Geneva, Emily stood on her hotel balcony, Grace asleep in her sling. Jessica joined her, handing her a cup of tea. You were incredible today, Jessica said softly. Emily smiled, eyes reflecting the golden horizon. It's not just me, it's everyone who said yes when it mattered. She looked down at Grace and added, and everyone who will say yes tomorrow. Jessica nodded, raising her cup. To compassion without borders. Emily clinked her cup against Jessica's. To every life we can touch, on the ground and in the skies. As night fell, the lights of the city shimmered below. In that moment, Dr. Emily Carter felt the profound truth of her journey, that by uniting wings in medicine, empathy, and expertise, she and her allies could change the world, one heartbeat at a time. The Grand Hall of the United Nations headquarters in New York City resonated with hushed anticipation as delegates from over 100 nations prepared to hear Dr. Emily Carter's testimony. She stepped to the mahogany podium. Grace nestled against her chest in a sleek black sling and took a measured breath. Behind her stood Jessica in her crisp flight attendant uniform and Lily clutching a stack of formal resolutions. Above, the iconic UN emblem glowed against a backdrop of international flags, each banner representing a country she hoped to inspire. Distinguished delegates, ambassadors, and colleagues, Emily began, her voice unwavering. Today we stand at a crossroads of aviation and public health. My experience aboard Flight VN 512, where a crew and passengers united to deliver a healthy baby at 35,000 feet, revealed the power of preparedness, compassion, and cross-disciplinary collaboration. But that was just the beginning. She paused, letting her words sink in. As she spoke, a large screen projected images of the in-flight delivery, passengers clearing an aisle, Jessica offering medical supplies, and the newborn's first cry echoing above the clouds. Next came scenes from the Mekong Delta clinic and a pilot telemedicine drone delivering medicines to remote outposts. The audience watched intently, some nodding in agreement, others taking notes furiously. Emily outlined the comprehensive framework she had co-authored with the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, and the World Health Organization, WHO. The proposal called for mandatory in-flight emergency response training for all crew members, integration of advanced medical kits on long-haul flights, and a global telehealth network connecting aircraft to remote clinics. She emphasized data sharing, standardized protocols, and a global fund to support implementation in developing countries. As of last month, she continued, pilot programs have launched in 5 nations across 3 continents. In Kenya, flight attendants have been trained alongside community health workers to perform basic obstetric assessments. In Brazil, telemedicine units aboard regional jets have consulted with rural hospitals, reducing emergency landings by 40%. And in Canada, an Indigenous health partnership has used our framework to deliver prenatal care by air ambulance to northern communities. A ripple of applause swept through the chamber. Emily let the applause subside before delivering her final plea. This initiative transcends borders, languages, and cultures. It represents our shared commitment to safeguarding life, whether on the ground or in the skies. I urge you to adopt Resolution 512A, thereby institutionalizing these protocols across your national aviation and health systems. Let us ensure that every flight becomes a potential lifeline. The assembly rose to its feet in a standing ovation. Ambassadors approached Emily with firm handshakes and warm congratulations. A representative from WHO handed her a signed copy of the resolution already endorsed by dozens of countries. Tears glistened in Emily's eyes as she accepted it, her heart full of hope. Later, in a private meeting room, Jessica and Lily joined her as she reviewed the resolution's text. Lily looked up, wide-eyed. "Does this mean babies everywhere will be safe on planes?" she asked. Emily knelt to Lily's level. "Yes, sweetheart. This will help protect mothers and babies all around the world." Jessica smiled proudly. "We've come a long way from that first flight." Emily nodded, gazing at the UN emblem one last time. And the journey continues. Tomorrow we begin implementation in Asia and Latin America. But today we celebrate a milestone, a testament to what happens when compassion and policy unite. As the 3 of them left the chamber, hand in hand, they walked through a corridor lined with flags, each step echoing the promise of safer skies and healthier communities. In that moment, Dr. Emily Carter knew that the legacy of Flight VN 512 would endure, not only in the hearts of those aboard, but in the policies that would shape the future of global health and aviation for generations to come. 1 year after that fateful flight, Dr. Emily Carter stood in a bright training room at the Skybridge Airlines headquarters. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the tarmac, where gleaming aircraft waited for their next journeys. Behind her, a world map dotted with red markers illustrated the reach of the Global Airborne Health Initiative, programs launched in over 50 countries, each point representing lives touched by the protocols she helped establish. Emily's daughter, Grace, now a chubby-cheeked infant, slept peacefully against her chest in a custom-designed sling. To her right, Jessica, once a flight attendant on Flight VN 512, guided a diverse group of trainees through the final steps of an emergency childbirth simulation. Lily, now 8, passed out sterile gloves and newborn mannequins to eager participants, cabin crew, community health workers, and even local midwives who had traveled from rural clinics. Emily cleared her throat and addressed the group. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice steady with conviction. "When we first faced a medical emergency mid-flight, none of us knew how it would end. But we chose to act, to learn, and to build something bigger than any one of us. Today, you carry that legacy forward. She gestured toward the map. Each marker here is a testament to our shared commitment to prepare, to collaborate, and to ensure that no matter where a mother is, on the ground or in the air, she has a fighting chance. A trainee raised her hand. Dr. Carter, could you share how these protocols have changed real outcomes? Emily nodded and recounted a few stories. In Kenya, a flight attendant had stabilized a woman with severe preeclampsia until the plane could divert to Nairobi. In Peru, a telemedicine kit aboard a regional flight helped diagnose a premature labor and connect the crew with a pediatric specialist. In Canada's Arctic, a medical drone delivered emergency supplies to an indigenous community under blizzard conditions. As she spoke, the trainees practiced hands-on drills, compressions, sterile field setup, oxygen administration, while Jessica coached them with precise, calm instructions. Lily demonstrated how to wrap a newborn in a blanket, her small fingers deftly securing the swaddle. The room buzzed with focused energy, a living tribute to the idea that training and empathy could transcend borders. After the simulation, Emily invited the group to form a circle. She placed Grace on a nearby table and knelt to meet her trainees eye to eye. This work is never finished, she said softly. Each of you brings unique skills and perspectives. Together, we will continue to innovate, to share data, and to support communities that need us most. The sky may be our starting point, but our impact reaches far beyond. Jessica stepped forward, handing Emily a small token, a silver pin engraved with the words, Airborne Guardian. On behalf of Skybridge Airlines and the Global Health Council, Jessica announced, we honor your vision and leadership. Emily accepted the pin, her eyes shining. She then pinned it to her blazer, directly above the airline's emblem, symbolizing the fusion of aviation and healthcare. Later, as the group dispersed, Emily walked to the window with Lily perched on her hip. Grace stirred and reached out, curious. Emily smiled, tracing the outline of an Airbus A350 taxiing into position. One day, she whispered to Lily, you'll grow up knowing that courage and compassion can change the world. Lily looked up, eyes wide with wonder, and nestled closer. Outside, the aircraft's engines roared to life, and one by one they lifted off into the clear blue sky. Emily watched until the last plane disappeared into the horizon, then turned to her children. Let's go home, she said, her heart full. In that moment, she understood that the true legacy of Flight VN 512 was not a single event, but a movement, a promise carried on the wings of countless flights, in the hands of every caregiver, and in the beating hearts of mothers and babies around the world.